conversation, the CRG method. I'm excited to get this thing kicked off the ground. Welcome, everybody. Apologies, we had some technical issues going into this with the email and the timing, but hey, modern era, that's tech. That's why we're all going to be at some point replaced with AI. Even Jake and I are going to be two talking heads, not AI. So, Jake, why don't we roll through this? I mean, we put together a heck of a presentation here today and a heck of a training. The idea is if you couldn't have made this, we got the recording for you, but you guys want to pay close attention, stick all the way through to the end because we have a lot of beneficial information that's going to unlock some ideas about having these strategic conversations, utilizing the way you convert and the way you accomplish your goals when you talk to people. And you're going to learn the tools and the hack that we provided for you today, and you'll have access to it. It's going to be fantastic. Take it away, Jake.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So we apologize for the technical difficulties, but when you have five people, different people operating invites, sometimes you put Eastern time, sometimes you put Pacific, depends on what time zone you're in. So we apologize for that, but we will make sure that everybody gets the recording. So that said, yeah, this is mastering any conversation. This is about 18 months that Mike and I have been kind of distilling this down, right? And let's start it this way. In the audience, of course, that's a Band-Aid. Who knows what this is? Who comes from an era when movies were true? I'll use this one so it's not a Band-Aid. There, Mike's not as squeamish about that one.
That looks like an error on your part in
It
living.
looks like an error on my part. It was, yeah. So this came out of a cool movie in the late 80s. Who's awesome enough to remember what this movie was? I'll give you a couple clues on this one. Jack Palance was Curly in that movie. Billy Crystal played Billy in that movie. And this is the secret to life. It's one thing. It's just the one thing. Well, the secret to life is the same as it is in business. It's just one thing. It's your ability to connect with your audience. Your ability to connect with your audience, client, customer, for the sake of this, they're all the same thing, right? You've got to be able to connect as a human being. And we got a lot of examples in this. So this is what we're boiling this down to. We have distilled this down to one particular method that we know is the core methodology. Like this is ahead of all the cool sales training that you can have, all the great scripts that you want to learn, any of the other things. This is boiled down to some emotional intelligence work that we have spent a lot of time on. And the framework is pretty simple. And we're going to march all the way through this.
Emotional intelligence work. Are we saying that people need emotional intelligence? I guess I do. That's why I'm glad we have this.
Yeah, we all do, because that's what gets us connected, right? That's the connection, that's the alignment, that's the agreement, and that's part of what this is built on. So that we're going to walk through this whole philosophy of what we've built. It's all predicated on what's called the compass. So the compass is your basic piece, and it's a one-page format that walks through 3 different paths. We also built the app around that. The AI training all works around that. But the basis of this starts with, and we're going to roll through it all, but I'm giving you kind of the broad strokes. It starts with the universal start question. And we'll get into that, and I'll explain a little bit more of why that question is so important and why it's formulated the way that it is. And the way that we've broken this down is the reality is every single person watching this, including Mike and I, every single person out there that you're going to have a conversation with is in one of 3 paths, period. Send me the messages, send me the invites, fight me on it. Let's go. They're in one of 3 paths, and we're going to talk about those 3 paths. How you navigate the path they are on means whether or not you're going to get to an alignment, whether you're going to get to an agreement, whether you're going to get to connection. It's not just about rapport. And that's what we're talking about today. So Mike, I guess we've got the intros. Most everybody knows who we are. We've got that particular piece in about an hour's worth of stuff today, probably give or take, depending on how many questions we've got. We're talking about what the problem is. We're going to give you the framework. We're going to do a little live demo for you. We're going to walk through telling you what the toolkit is all about and what the next steps are and how to move through that. So let's talk about the silent killer in your business. Let's talk
All
about
right.
that. It's the next one. So what do you got to build
So
on top of that, Mike?
so what we got here is the layout, right? The problem. We've talked about the framework. We've talked about what we're going to do. We've talked about the toolkit. We've talked about the next steps, right? And let's drop a yes in the chat if you've ever walked in any of the conversations thinking what just happened. So let's see if we've got you here, and then let's work on the silent killer.
So
So
there's so here's the other story. Let's back that one up, and I'll give you this story. I've been married an awful long time.
yeah,
When it comes right down to it, we've been, and so has Mike. We've been, my wife and I have been together 35 years, married 30 years. By all accounts, we should be able to finish each other's sentences. I should be able to look across the room at her, and she should know exactly what I'm thinking at any given time. Right? You would think that's true. It's not. It's totally not true. There are plenty of times that I have made the joke that I have said, evidently English is not my first language because we are just not talking the same thing. And the reason behind that is because she's in a different emotional state than I am in that particular moment. She is receiving communication in a different way than I am putting it out. Plain and simple. It's not that complicated. So this is where we're still in this one down. So we're talking about the silent business, the silent killer in your business, and it's not your it's not your competition, right? It is your inability to connect with your audience. Connect. I'm going to use that word. I'm going to beat that word with a stick all the way through this. It's
beat it
about
with a stick.
connecting. Yep, beat it with a stick. So it's because the conversations you've been having you weren't ready for. I'm going to give you the examples. In standard sales, typical conversion rates within sales are, if you have a 25% conversion rate, that's considered above average to pretty good, right? That's a standard conversion rate, which means for every 4 people you talk to, one of them is going to want to buy, sell, or refer business to you. This is across pretty much all industries. And this transcends into other conversations and communications. The same is true with human resources, and it's absolutely true leadership to first level. Okay, executive leadership to first level leadership. So what does that really tell us? That's not telling us I'm 25% good at something. That tells us I suck at something 75% of the time. That's when Mike and I really started to realize this input equals output piece. And this has really come to fruition. And Mike called it out about a couple, 3 months ago. We were at something and he brought this to the forefront, this input equals output piece. And think about that. 4 people that you had a conversation with, 3 of them you pissed off. 3 of them you didn't make happy. 3 of them are not going to refer business to you, but you might have got business from the one. So what's the standard sales tell us to go do? Go make more calls, go get more leads, go talk to more people, go out and get 100 people so that you can have 25 sales. Well, that's stupid. That means you get to piss off 75 people. Why on earth would we want to do that? Why wouldn't we want to go, okay, well, how about I get 50 people and I convert all of them? Wouldn't that make twice as much money as we would have before? Wouldn't those people want to refer to it? That's how we're doing this. That's how we're getting there. When we're talking about, and this is a conversion rate that plays into human resources, customer service management, again, leadership, and honestly, it's conversations with your kids, conversations with your spouse. It's all conversations because we go into it with this win-win agenda. That's crap. That's not the way we're doing it anymore. It's no longer a win-win scenario. It never was. Comes right down to it. Now it's about connection. Now it's about agreement and alignment. What else you got on that, Mike?
Well, agreement and alignment are two, as we've just beaten to death here, are two of the main points of everything, right? Agreement and alignment. You can't get somebody to agree or align without the other, right? If we don't have alignment, we don't have agreement. If we don't have agreement, we don't have alignment. If you're not practicing this, if you're winging conversations, I mean, you're probably pretty good. You probably have a 70% success rate at getting what you need, but that's not good enough in the real world. If you're trying to make a living or if you're trying to advance your station, right, in life, you've got to have that agreement alignment. You got to practice. I had to practice. I'm a bull. I have to learn sometimes when to kind of hang back, when to assert myself, and when and where I can weave in this alignment. I wish I had this tool. I wish I had this idea way back when. I always had it. It was inherent. I used to have conversations in the mirror, and I used to. I'll give somebody a hack, right? I used to earmark conversations I would be in, replay them in my head, and figure out, okay, when did emotion creep in? When did emotion not creep in? I would hear myself get all worked up, and then I would rework how I would address that problem. And then when I got into that situation next, or when I was around that person next, uh, I would solve the problem. But the caveat is, if you're in a sales call, you can't keep burning through customers. If you're trying to get a job, you can't keep burning through your gateway people. You can't just keep, there's not always a plus one. There's not always another. Sure, there's a bunch of leads, but each and every lead today is precious. It's a big marketplace. Each and every person you talk to try to advance your career is precious. Remember, people have a lot of options. There's a lot of people out there looking for work. There's a lot of vendors out there. There's a lot of vendors in every space. I don't care what vacuum you've worked yourself in. You or your people should get passionate and train, if you're not already doing it, with a tool like this, or you should train with a hack that I just said to further your agenda. Now, what do we have here on the screen, Jake?
Here's some general data that we've put together as far as what this is going to mean. And a lot of this is dealing with either sales and or employee engagement from either a CSM or HR perspective. So
what's a
two
CSM?
times salary cost when a top performer quits. Because if you lose a top performer, it costs a lot of money to get a new one in there because you've invested a lot of time and you've invested a lot of money into the person that quit. You've got to do it all over, and it's time. Average cost of a lost deal on a misread conversation across all industries, the average cost is $250K in lost revenue when you lose a deal. And that's either from a new transaction or that's from a existing customer that didn't do a renewal. We found that to be absolutely true. 68% of employees leave due to poor communication, not pay. And I've known this for a long time. And this used to be told to me constantly. Brenda Benson was the first person that told this to me. And this was employees leave in the absence of value, period. If an employee doesn't feel valued, they're leaving. I don't care how much you pay them. And to not be heard means you're undervalued. So 68%, and this is a true statistic, of employees leave due to poor communication, not to pay.
I'm coaching somebody right now that is literally going through that very situation.
Mm-hmm. And this is exactly what it is. So this is a couple things Mike and I've talked about. I've said this before, said it from stage. Every bad outcome has a bad conversation hiding behind it. Totally true. And that's because we did not connect. We did not get agreement or alignment from a conversation. So therefore, that bad outcome is due to bad input. Input equals output. We've talked about this. And I said, if you learn one thing from me, ignore everything else I said. It's that input equals output.
So let's then segue into leadership, right? I feel like, most leaders are guessing, and
they are.
In the case of the employee and the bad conversation and retention and what we just talked about, most leaders are guessing, and that's a real problem. If you're a leader out there, and again, remember I said this, you wouldn't be in the position you're in. You're talented. Everyone's got talent. Employees, leaders, collaborators. It's that 70% rule. Do you want to try to get your success rate up to the 90s? Do you want to try to get your success rate up into the upper 90s? Do you want to get it into the 80s? Or do you just want to keep guessing your way to the 70s and then have to deal with the fallout of the 30s? It's I don't know. Anyway, let's go on, Jake. Most leaders are guessing. So what do you got for me on the screen here?
Yeah. So this is where, if we show up with a specific agenda, this is the example here, right? If I show up and I am high excitement and I am really stoked that this is the greatest thing you ever need and this is how it's going to be, and let me tell you how it's going to go, and I don't care what your agenda is, then we have a problem. It's all about when my agenda is a problem. Okay. This is where we get into trouble. This is where I'm not reading the room. This is where we're not paying attention. This is where we're not really getting engagement. We're not getting in with people so that we understand. Of course, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here again. This is where we're not understanding, right? This is where we're not understanding. We're guessing at it. So we're showing up with our agenda and we're not seeking first to understand. We've talked to a lot of our guests talk about this too. Seeking first to understand, coming from curiosity is where this is, rather than, and here's a spot where this creeps up on people a lot of times. I call them fixers. And typically somebody will come to the fixer with a problem. Hey, this is busted. And rather than the fixer saying, okay, well, what have you tried to fix? What have you worked on? What's your plan to go next? They immediately give them a solution. So what behavior did we just teach? That all they have to do is come back and they'll get that solution again. We're not empowering them. We're not connecting. We're not engaging. We're not actually getting there. So we're not leading. All we're doing is fixing and band-aiding. So that's where this guessing piece comes in. Is there's a missed opportunity to connect. And here's where we've gotten much worse at this. And we've talked about this on our show and absolutely since COVID. So the gift of COVID and the curse of COVID all at the same time, where we had to get really, really good at being remote and being virtual really fast. And we all did. Everybody got amazing at being virtual super fast, right? Zoom took off and we got incredibly good at it. The curse is we got lousy at connecting. We got really crappy at it because we got complacent in the fact that I can be anywhere I want to be whenever I want to be there, and I'll just jump on a Zoom call, and I won't necessarily be engaged, but it'll look like I'm there. And that's where our disconnect happens through leadership, is we are not connecting as human beings again. So that's a curse that has absolutely been happening.
Well, I think you're right, and I like where we're going with this. I think we
Yep.
should keep expounding on that, but
Yep.
we
So
got one
let's get
again.
into the method, man. We've kind of talked about. We've given everybody the teasers. Let's get into what this is.
So
So this
yeah,
is this,
as we break it down, it's funny. I was trying to hijack the show before when you got cut off. I was like, ah, man, here's my moment to shine, and all of a
yeah,
sudden,
your moment to shine and the technical difficulties.
well, then
So
I
yeah.
got cut off. What a pain in the butt. But hey, wouldn't be
Yeah.
life without some
So
without
there
some.
you're at USQ. So go back to the method.
Oh, no. Well,
You're
where am I
close. You
going
went
here?
ahead.
Where would life be without a technical difficulty, right?
Technical entertainment. There it is. So this is where it was born from. This is what the GPS, the compass, this is what it's built on. Literally this. It's this simple. And this is all it is. So Mike, go ahead and take these.
So when we look at it, right, we take it as a curiosity, right? CRG. We're not in the military, but acronyms are just easier to communicate in, and we use a lot of these. Ask the right questions. Read the room in 30 seconds. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen that, right? Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. Read the room, and understand what's happening, right? And then you've got the rapport, right? And as we work on rapport, that's the back and forth, right? That's that building that agreement. That is basically saying trust before you have it, right? That is I like this person. A lot of times, an example here is, like you see a lot of our social media content, a lot of our content out there. We put ourselves out there so that you trust us, right? So you understand who we are. And to be transparent, that's why everyone does it. It's not to get you as a customer. It's just that you trust us. If we ever bump into each other, it's like, hey, man, these guys are okay, right? So the growth part, right? CRG. Every conversation has momentum. Either it stalls momentum or it moves it forward. And that's the growth component. Growth obviously equals, we think of growth, we think of expansion, and we want to work into that forward momentum. Think what we said. If you want to take your 70% success rate that you're winging it and move it all the way up to 95, 98, 100, you've got to have these three things locked down. Each one of them can be its own silo, or just like any other tunnel system, it can be multiple tunnels within one structure. And that's what we've done here, right? And if you guys are interested in looking at the app, we don't want to pull you off of this thing, but can you
Yep.
see
There's your first
bottom right-hand
opportunity
corner?
on the QR code.
Yeah. move along there. I think
Yeah.
we,
So I want to add one more thing based on this report, and we don't have a slide for this, but there's a lot of articles, and both Mike and I were recently on a leadership summit that this was talked about. So there's a massive trust deficit right now economically within pick your wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter. There's a huge trust deficit, a little bit caused by being virtual, but the trust deficit exists because of lack of connection. And there's some statistics out there that I've heard a bunch of different numbers. So that's why we haven't built a slide, because I don't know what it is, but it's somewhere between 50 and 80% of people are feeling unsafe. They're just simply seeking safety. If they feel unsafe, they're not going to trust. Plain
seriously
and simple. It's a staggering number. It was
stop it.
shocking to me. It is. It's a huge number. I heard it on Leadership Week. I read an article just about it in Forbes. There's a huge trust and safety issue. So this is your opportunity. This is an opportunity as a leader to show up and build trust through rapport. Because when a person trusts you, they're showing and demonstrating safety. So there's an opportunity here. So I wanted to throw that out there. We don't have the actual number because I don't think there is one, but everything has been thrown around as a radically, staggeringly high number that I've been hearing.
That's crazy, man. All right,
So
well, let's get into what matters most, right?
yep,
So,
yep. This is your universal start question. When you're in the app, this is the USQ because, like Mike said, I like acronyms. I use a ton of them.
damn
Mike
it,
knows it.
stop it. Nobody likes acronyms but the military, me and you. What is USQ? Stop using acronyms.
This is the universal start question.
Don't make
This
me
is
mute you or cut you off and hijack the whole thing. Not that you don't have control, but
not that I don't have it. This is
I'll
the
have our
universal
producer.
start
I'll have our
question.
producer cut you off.
There you go. Have the producer do it. So this is very, very distilled down. This is the basic foundational format of the question. Okay, the universal start question. This is where you need to start every conversation. I want to give you an example, and Mike and I haven't practiced this one yet. I just thought about this a little while ago of a lousy way to start a conversation. Immediately a way to put somebody into a guarded state. Let's assume that Mike is going to come out and buy a new car. Let's assume I'm a car salesman, right? Mike rolls up in his cool car that he's got now. He's never getting rid of that thing. He loves that car. But let's just assume he's going to go out and buy a new car. And at this point, Mike is totally open. He is showing up. He's already decided he is a yes on buying a car. Shows up at the car dealership, and the first thing that the car salesman Jake says to him is, "Well, Mike, what brings you out today?" What a stupid question. I'm just going to call it out. Well, you're at a car dealership. Apparently, I'm here to buy a hamburger. No, what brings me here is I'm here to buy a car. That's a terrible way to start the question, start a conversation, because I took Mike from open, aligned, ready to do business to what kind of idiot are you? And he's going to go to skeptical. He's going to go to guarded right away. He doesn't want to do business with me because I started with a dumb question.
Right?
Plain and simple. This is why this USQ is so important. The universal start question is this, again, distilled down. It's going to change a little bit depending on how you're using it, but the foundation is this. It's what matters most to you right now. What matters most to you right now? And it can change for every situation. Sales, again, CSM, leadership, take your pick,
So
right?
let's get
Not the,
let's
yeah.
get into the meat of this, man. I mean, so we've started to bring up the colors. We started to bring up the challenge, right? I like the USQ is great, but I'm a impatient person, so I want to jump right into the next thing,
All
right?
right, roll. Let's go.
So here's what matters to me right now is telling the audience and keeping them on time. So I think is genius. I mean, this is in a lot of different ideas in terms of like buying and selling, but really remember the nature of what Jake and I are trying to do is create communication. We're not trying to sell anybody anything. Yeah, okay, great. You want to buy the app? Awesome. But what we're trying to do here is deliver the maximum impact we can so that you can say, hey, you know what? I listened to those total disruption guys and I got a lot out of that thing because they woke me up to XYZ. Therefore, my family relationships are better, my business relationships are better, my personal relationships are better. I'm going to give you the XYZ. I mean, technically Jake is, but The aligned, the guarded, the activated. Now, again, you could be wrong in reading somebody, but you have to start somewhere. And
Well,
there's
that's because it's
ways.
not a one and done.
No.
That's a key observation Mike just made right there, right? You could be wrong the first time.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. And again, and Mike said it earlier, this takes practice. This is not I'm going to read this thing one time and I'm going to have it mastery. Path to mastery is 10,000 hours. It's going to take time to do it. So that's where this is. Right now, and Mike's doing a great job of showing us what path he's on versus what path I'm on. We're not on the same path right now. Everybody needs to get that, right? Not on purpose, not that we're acting this. A lot of times this is where we do are, right? I show up frequently aligned, right? I'm open, I'm collaborative, I'm ready to go. Mike does too. And when Mike's patience starts to get tested, he can shift to guarded really quickly. He can get there really, really quickly, right? Totally happens. All right. It's rare that either one of us are activated with each other. We're going to talk more about that.
I walk
But
around guarded. I de-guard when it comes
yeah,
to you.
you and see, there's a great example. This is exactly right. If Mike walks around guarded, you guys have heard me say this before. First time I met Mike, he was 100% guarded. He was orange bordering on red, not approachable, not in any way, shape, or form. Just wasn't even. He was tunnel visioned into what he was doing. I think it was baseball season, so totally a thing that he was doing. So if you're guarded, if Mike's guarded and I'm aligned, but I show up and I assume Mike is aligned, I'm going to start asking him aligned questions. We're not going to get there. I've got to understand what Mike needs in order to not disarm him. That's not what we're doing, but to help Mike trust us so that we can build safety, we can build rapport, and we can both get to align. That's the goal. Now, again, I will go back and I will tell you every single person listening to this, watching this, that you meet today is in one of these three spaces, period. There is no extra colors. There's no other, I'm sort of here, sort of there. No, you're either leaning in and you're open and you're excited about the thing, or you're kind of guarded. You're stepping back a little bit. I don't really necessarily trust what Jake's talking about. I need more information, or you're activated. And we see this in CSM conversations. A lot of client is just like, I am not happy. Your stuff broke. You didn't do what you asked me to do. We cannot approach those three conversations the exact same way. Cannot be done, right?
Almost,
Cannot be done.
I almost pulled a host slash maitre d. I was at one of my favorite spots earlier today, getting some food to go, and it's a restaurant, really nice restaurant. And this lady wanted a 10 top and come in, and he was not understanding what she wanted, and he was not getting to her level. He was getting very upset, and he thought she wanted to like march 10 people in his restaurant. I felt like just pulling the guy aside and saying, "Look, bud, we're in an area right here with a lot of choices. And this lady, if you look at her, she's clearly asking, she's got rubber gloves on, she's wearing a mask, she's an elderly lady, and she's clearly in a mindset that she's trying to like make sure everything's going to be okay, right? Like, not this guy was totally activated, defensive, and she was totally almost guarded and confused. She wanted alignment. He didn't. His idea of alignment was, I'm going to step on you and squash you so that you're aligned with my boot. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to pull this guy aside, but I mean, I had other things I had to
And
deal
we
with
see it all the time,
all the
right? We
time.
see it all the time, and this is the basis. So let's dive deeper into this, right?
So,
Let's dive into the blue path and get a little bit deeper into this. Signals, right? So there's different signals, and we talked about this. It's not just verbal language. We communicate a lot of different ways, right? Verbal is only 20% of our total communication. It comes right down to it. Body language, skin tonus, attitude, presence in what they're doing in a room. So there's signals that you have to start to learn. And this is just a very small tertiary piece. Again, the app will teach you more. We can teach you more and more classes. But aligned is they're a yes. That's an easiest way to say this is they're already a yes. Man, I'm excited to get started. Here's exactly what I need. Let's do this. I love that one. Let's do this. I hear that sometimes. So then you
I
have
hear
to
it all the
ask
time.
specific questions, right? These are the explore and co-create style of questions. And these are built a very specific way. These are not you already asked the universal start question. What matters most to you right now? What's the most important thing to you right now? What's the number one thing? What's, the one thing? However you're going to formulate it, that's the key, is distilling it down. What would ideal look like for you? What's been your experience so far? What would make this a home run? I threw the baseball analogy in there for Mike as a question. He's a big baseball guy. But think about that if we go back to the car dealership. Rather than ask one of the dumb questions of what brings you in today, right? What's a better question? If they're already on the lot, they're already a yes, they're doing it. What's a good aligned question? Throw it in the chat. Ask your question. Let's hear what it is. What's a great question that somebody could ask you?
All right.
Mike, give us an example. What's a great question that a great salesman would ask in order for a person that's already on the lot? They're already there to buy a car.
Well, hey, first of all, my name is, right? Introduce yourself. Second of all, what instead of what brings you in today, what kind of vehicle are you looking for today? In other
What
words,
research have you already done?
right. What vehicle
Yeah,
are you looking at today? Is there anything I can help show you that's going to match what you've been looking for? That kind of, just any of that, very disarming, very, what are you looking for? Not what are you ready to buy? What are you
that's
looking
key.
for?
That's key. Mike nailed it on the head right there, because I was going to even bring back up again, what's the quickest way to put somebody right back into guarded from blue? And that would be, how much money are you wanting to spend today? We're not there. I don't trust you. We're not going to have banking conversations yet.
No.
We're not
And,
even remotely there.
or, listen, are you in the market for a vehicle today? Are you looking for parts? Like, that kind of thing. Like just a general, let me serve you, let me help you.
Yeah. So here's a +1 on that one. Mike's right. And in asking the questions, and I'll go back and I'll give this example. I've given it before. I used to get up in the morning with my coaching clients, and if Mike was one of my clients, I used to say, what can I do for Mike today? That's a servant's heart question. It's not an invalid question, but it's still the wrong path. We've got to change the way we ask that question, because this is not about us. None of these, we're here to serve. That's true, but it's all about them. I have to ask the question in a format that is, what does Mike need today? That's the key, because it's not about us, man. You want to make true connection, make it about them. Make them feel heard. Make sure they feel you see what they see, the same picture. There we go. English. See, there you go. I'm going to learn English. We've talked about that. That's the goal here. If they're already blue and aligned, stay in blue and aligned, man. But don't push. We're not there yet. We're going to talk more about that. So let's jump into guarded, Mike.
So, yeah,
This is
guarded.
all you, man. Tell us how you feel when you're
So,
guarded. This is Mike a lot. I'm
by
giving
the
him grief
way,
about that.
by the way, everybody, listen, you can walk through a million systems. This is our system.
This is
This
our
is
system.
this is hundreds of thousands of hours of just work, life, and a summation of a lot of things. We try to make this as simple as possible. You could come up with any color system if you want. You can go find a million things. This really is the simplest way to think about things. Reverse engineer from here. It's going to take some practice. That's why we built the app. That's why we've done what we've done for you guys. There's the rest of this presentation to help you. You'll get plenty out of it. But the deep dive, the practice, it either comes from coaching or it comes from the app. So guarded. I was in to be honest with you, I was in a format when I first met Jake where a lot of people were always presenting me. There was a lot of dreamers presenting ideas. And I wanted to give a persona that I wanted people to work a little harder if they approached me. And the more confident people actually held a conversation with me, and therefore I opened up. So it was a tactic. And Jake obviously held a conversation with me, and boom, here we are today, right? So sometimes people aren't guarded because they're mad because they lost, I don't know, a bet or something. They're guarded because that's a mechanism they put up as a filter, right? Some of these things are filters. And again, you don't assume anything, you keep going, but you have to understand things can change on a dime. You could go from guarded to aligned in about 2 seconds. That's where practice comes in.
Yep.
Practice.
100%.
All right. So listen, somebody who's guarded, uncertainty, they give you things like, okay, in a sales conversation, look, I've tried things like this before. I have to think about it. Can you send me some more information? I'd rather always get, hey, I am in no mood to make a decision yet. I do want to sit down and read through the information. I don't have enough in front of me. That's a better guarded question. That's almost an aligned guarded question. So
It's headed there. Yeah. Agreed.
right. So here's a great way to diffuse. Jake, you can actually go over this. Disarm and build. Since you're a good disarmer of a guarded person, why don't you take?
This is what it is, right? This is when they're guarded. The idea is to disarm and build safety. It's build trust. It's build rapport. That's where your opportunity is here. So I'm sensing some hesitation. What questions do you have? What questions do you have? It's a simple question. What would need to be true? I love this question. The true question is one of my favorites. What would need to be true for this to feel right? What would need to be true? What's your biggest concern right now? Not what are your concerns, what's your biggest concern?
Yeah.
Because what are your concerns can be a much bigger conversation. So then we're going to get into a little bit more. We'll talk about the loop in a little while. Note the questions here look differently. They're designed to build safety. When a person starts to feel safe and starts to trust you, they shift towards aligned. Our questions then become different. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So let's roll in. Let's roll into activated.
Activated, high energy, positive or negative. Now, high energy is just a person who's in a heightened sense state. It could be elation. It could be high energy about something else completely. It could be high energy against what you're talking about. Again, high energy is high energy, right? Obviously, the more you deal with people, the better you understand if the energy is projected towards you or you're getting the repercussions from something else. Either way, you're going to learn how to disassociate yourself and more associate with the problem. I can't believe this happened. I'm so ready for this. This is urgent. We need to move now, right? Activate. Validate, right? This is, again, making a sale or getting acceptance is one thing. Keeping it is another. That's where the key point here over here, you see, I don't know if you can see my pointer here, validate and channel, right? I can tell this matters to you. What's that driving energy? You want to get that double, that what we'll call it a double opt-in, right? You want to get that what's going on. You can either diffuse or make sure things are going well. It sounds like this has been building for a while. Tell me more. Or what would a win look like from your perspective?
Yep. So this is this activated path, right? This is a space of there is no safety yet. We've got to get there to even start to build safety. So an activated path is not just diffuse the bomb, right? We're not going to go in and cut the blue wire and we're all good. We're not there. This is all about you got to build more curiosity. You've got to absolutely ask the different kind of questions. I can tell this matters to you. What's driving that energy? Think about how you're doing that. Now there's some old school training that talks about mirroring and matching that can work in and including up to guarded. It does not work in activated. It doesn't work. You can't go full tilt wherever somebody is and think you're going to bring it back to blue. It is not going to work that way. You go part way. If they're clear up here, you're down here on activated, or they're up here and activated, you're down here on aligned, you can go part way and you can start to help them get to you before you both get to here, right? And I should probably do that the other way because, I don't know, it might look better. But the point remains, we can't ask them aligned questions when they're activated. And traditionally, these are absolutely, this is where we can come off condescending. It's very easy to do, right? Because if you're very monotone and you're trying to be cool about things, you gotta be careful with this one. This takes practice with activated people. This is going to happen a lot if you're a CSM. This is going to happen a lot in human resources, customer service management. See, there's that other thing. That's not my acronym. That's an industry thing.
I know,
customers, people need to know.
People
need to know. Customer service manager, right? You get a customer that's just irritated about something. You guys are going to deal with this path a lot. So you can, and I guarantee you, I've seen it, I've coached a ton of them, you're going to come off either condescending or complacent a lot of times because you're trying to manage it to this script, this corporate script that says you just have to run them through this thing regardless of their problem. And a lot of times, this is where the best thing you can do is ask a question and shut up. Listen, listen to what the customers are saying. And this is where we're going to get into the active listening loop. It is critical. They want to be here. They want to be heard. They want to be seen, and they want to feel that you get them. Plain and simple. That is the
All right,
first
well,
step in this.
let's get
So
to
let's
the
talk active listening loops.
So, right, like you cannot ask question two until you prove you've heard question one. And again, we don't want to get bogged down in the weeds here. This is a high level overview. We're citing some good examples here. It's very easy to get bogged down in the weeds. So let's walk you through this. Ask, listen, reflect, confirm, next question. Now, for those of you that are know-it-alls, you may know it all and know all of this, but chances are there's definitely the reflect back piece I could always get to. I'm great at confirming. I'm great at ask, listen, confirm. I don't always reflect back. And then I pull the next question. I like getting that agreement. I like getting that confirmation. That feels good to me. So that's native to me. The reflect back piece doesn't feel native to me. I've had to train that. And I just through the years of being in the service industry, the ask has just gotten me so much. It's so much retention in asking. It's not even about sales. It's about confidence. It's about people who are confident in me because I'm asking and I care and I give a shit. So, all right. So now, so again, we've got these two examples. Why don't you expand on what we have down here? No loops, no trust, no
Yeah.
deal.
So the active listening loop, and this is an exercise, and this requires, again, practice. This is about affirmation. This is about confirmation. Again, this is what starts to drive, and this is the scientific method. And so in the chat, and everybody can remember this one. And I found this kind of funny the other day. In the scientific method, if you guys remember your 8th grade biology, what is the first step in the scientific method? Ask a question. Ask a question. And I love the fact that the scientific method absolutely supports this because it is ask, research, hypothesize, test, test, test some more. We don't share our findings yet, though. We go back and we ask again. We repeat the loop. The scientific method absolutely supports this concept. And there's a little bit of that concept that we brought into this. So I want to throw that out there for you science geeks, me being one of them. So the truth is we have to ask the question, shut up and listen. One of the most powerful things you can do is shut up and listen. Let them tell you, are they an audio person? Are they a visual person? Are they a feelings person?
I'll remember that next time we're broadcasting.
You'll remember that, yeah. So reflecting back, did I hear you? Is this correct? Because we have to confirm what we heard to prove we heard it. That's how we build trust. If we don't run the full loop, we are not building trust. If we have not built trust, we're not going to get the deal. Whatever the deal is, right? Whatever the agreement is that you're trying to get to. And again, we fall to input equals output. The quality of your attention, not intention, attention, determines the quality of your results. How much are you playing into what this other person is actually saying that you can get them what they need?
So
that's the reality of this.
Everyone is a gateway, either a gateway for you to feel rewarded, a gateway for other customers, or a gateway for decades of stable revenue, right? Like it's a gateway. And all that coincides with your intentions. If your intention is to help and to serve and to be there and to fulfill a need, and you're doing all this stuff, the sustained success is unmatched. It's almost becomes effortless. And right here is what strengthens the referral loop in a business placement. Or right here gets you into different social circles. Or right here gets you that, hey man, this person's a great person. I'd like you to meet so-and-so. All right, so let's move along. We've got,
Yep. So we've talked about this a little bit. You went the wrong way. That's a shift. You went too far. Should be in this works everywhere. There it is. So we've already talked about this a little bit. So we'll go through this quick. This works in sales. This works in hiring,
I think maybe they're
customer check-ins, talent development. I probably jumped ahead one. You're probably right. Conflict resolution. This is a big one. How this particular formula works. This is not about a script. It is a system in asking questions. I had one of the people that I look up to as a mentor, Terry Gurno, said the right question asked at the right time will change the course of a person's life. This is the control and the power that this system gives you. That's what you're practicing here. Okay. So we want to talk about that. So yes, let's go back a slide. Shift check. I did jump ahead. Mike's right. So we go back into that. Yep.
This is pretty self-explanatory. Here we go again with the app access.
Yep.
Oh, no, I can't go back. Hold on. Let's go this way. There we go. Okay,
there it is. So this is where your emotional intelligence works, right? Where did they start? Did they start guarded? Where in the conversation did they make a shift? Because here's the interesting part. They didn't shift on their own. They shifted based on the quality of your questions, based on the quality of your attention. This is where you need to be paying attention. If they started out guarded and now they're activated, you pushed them there. How do you bring them back? But you can't bring them from activated to aligned all the way in one question. You've got to run the loops. So that's where this goes. Shift check. Shift check question. Again, this is the distilled down version. So I noticed the energy shifted. How are you feeling about this now? I noticed the energy shifted. How are you feeling about this? Like, you can question it in a couple different ways, but the question is distilled down to the basic format of what it is. Use it how you need to, but that's the basis of the question. Don't change the question. You put your language in here, but it is critical that you ask it in that way. Anything else about that on the shift checks, Mike?
No, this is, again, just something you have to play with. This cannot be taught right now.
It cannot be taught in an hour. We're clearly demonstrating that.
Yeah, definitely not. So, all right.
So now we should be in the $2 million conversation slide.
We are. I'm in a $2 million conversation every second I'm alive. All right. This is a real story. I'm going to just kind of blow through this, and Jake will kind of expound on this. The sales leader, 12 years in the game, walked into a renewal meeting, confident. Client was cold. They got colder. 3 days later, cancellation notice. Ooh. So why don't you talk about that? I mean, to me,
so the reality of what this one is, and these are the bullet points of what happened. So that's the truth is this particular CSM, right? This is where this one came from. They did a customer check-in.
Service manager?
Customers, okay. Yep, customer service manager. This particular CSM was just talking to this customer because they're an existing client, like they're just always going to be an existing client. Didn't ask any questions, didn't do anything with it. We checked it in really, really quickly. And that's why they got the cancellation notice. And it's because the CSM didn't ask what's important to them. They just came in and basically said, everything looks good. You're still using the system. Hey, why don't we upsell and go ahead and increase your account to this? This would be better for you. They pushed their agenda. They weren't paying attention to what was truly important to this person. So literally 5 minutes into the conversation, we listened to the call recorded. We found it. Client was totally guarded. They were bordering on activated. They weren't aligned at all. Called the client back. We got them on the right path using the methodology, and they not only renewed, they expanded because we built trust back. The trust had been eroded. We built it back by asking what's most importantly. So a $2 million contract got saved. It was actually like a 1.6 and they upgraded. So it ended up being a $2 million contract based on the quality of the conversation. Simply, they got back to, and they made a really key statement when we got back on, as soon as we heard it. And I keep using audio, and they said, I just don't feel like the CSM heard me. How many times have you heard that in the chat? Go ahead and throw it in there, right? How many times has that come up in your world that somebody says, it just doesn't feel like you're hearing me? That's a disconnect. They're automatically guarded. Pay attention to that. So this This is the stuff that you need to understand.
And
So that's the
let me,
basis of that story.
let me plus one that, not to talk over you, let me plus one that. When people don't feel heard, their brains start telling themselves stories. And their first thing is they want to be heard, and they're going to hurt you. They're going to cancel. They're going to quit. They're going to leave. They want to be heard. They want to be, seen. Everybody wants to be seen, no matter how introverted they really are.
That's the reality,
So,
and build safety. So what path are they on? This is an easy one. This is for you guys. This is for everybody that's watching this. If an employee comes in, and I want to plus this in, they're like, well, I'm a one man band. I don't have employees. Let's go this way. Let's assume the word employee is client or customer. Let's assume every person on here has a client or customer. And I will ask Mike this question. Mike, you're a dad. Mike does it. Mike does it at a high level, by the way, in case anybody's ever missed that. He does the dad thing at a pretty damn high level. As a dad, who is your client?
my kids.
It's your kids. They're the client. They're the customer. 100%. If you're a husband and wife team and you're the husband, who's your client? Your wife.
The wife.
Period. That's who it is, right? You always have an employee or client or customer. They're the same thing. You have somebody you serve in that moment. So I want you to think about it from that perspective. Okay. So an employee says, I just don't think this project is going to work. What path do you think they're on? If I say it that way, I just don't think this project is going to work. Throw it in the chat, A, B, or C. Are they aligned, guarded, or activated? So I was playing guarded a little bit, right? I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical.
I'm going to be.
Yeah, it's B. It was totally B. But you have to start to pay attention, right? So, yep. Curiosity beats control. These are little bits and pieces of this to let you guys know. When in doubt, ask a question. You cannot go wrong asking questions. Ask more questions. Ask endless questions. He who asks the most questions wins when it comes right down to it. That's what I'll give you on that one. That's just a reminder slide for you.
Here's an even better one sometimes, right? Here's a little coaching. I know we're running out of time. A quick pause and a facial expression change of general disillusion. Like, hold on a second here. I am getting a little bit lost in this conversation. Like all of a sudden now they want to serve you. Mm-hmm. There's a hack for you. Input equals output. It's when and where you use these things.
Every time, all the time.
All right. So hold on for a second, Jake, before we start talking crap here. If you've gotten to this point, right, we clearly want to go further with you. You clearly want to go a little further with us. We would love to give things away for charity, right? But we can't. And as a matter of fact, this is how we make our living, is helping people. If you want to get a little deeper and go a little bit further with us, we'd love to have you. Those of you that, hey, want to get off the train here, no problem. You feel free to get off the train. But we'd like you to, maybe replay this and learn some things. You can DM us on socials. You can find us any way, shape, or form. Ask us a question. We're happy to help. Okay. So we have a free gift just for showing up. This is a freebie, completely free. So don't leave just yet. What do we have here, Jake?
Yeah, this is when you sign up for the app. So this is actually a couple freebies for you guys. You're going to get the digital flowchart, which is basically the how to work through the paths, right? It's the practice. You have to practice. You got to think about, this is your baseball swing. This is your touchdown throw. This is your hockey goal. This is your pacing for your run, whatever you're going to do. You've got to practice, guys. You have to. It's not a choice. If you are finding you've got a 25% conversion rate on your sales, God, go practice, man. Spend time sharpening your axe before you go cut the forest down. That's what you got to do. So you're going to get the digital flowchart, you're going to get the interactive navigator, and you're going to get the companion guide. This is all the base PDF training modules that we've built within the app when you sign up for the app. You're also going to get lifetime promo access for it, which is $10 a month. You're never going to see an increase regardless of how much stuff we put in there or what the app actually costs. It's going to cost you $10 a month for life. But you get this stuff for free regardless when you get in there. So that's what the freebie is for you guys. We appreciate you spending time with us today. And I know we're going a mile a minute. We're flying through this, but it takes time. It's going to take time, and it's going to take effort for you guys to get here.
you can't cover everything in one day.
Impossible.
That's a heck of a deal, man. Did we both approve these gifts?
I don't think I asked permission on that one.
I don't
I just
recall,
assumed you were aligned.
dude. I mean, I am aligned, but holy smokes, what a giveaway! My goodness, man. I'm
Yeah,
trying to,
you're talking, over the lifetime of the app, if you're going to use it for training and you're going to work through that particular thing, it's a pretty significant. Yeah, it's pretty good.
all right, well, scan below for the app access. Now, okay, those of you that are still sticking around, we got one more layer here. If you're ready to go a little deeper, and you're, obviously some of these things are for these prices are for companies and that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the enterprise model.
Yeah, let's work on. Let's go for it here. What do we got, Jake?
Yeah, you've got depending if you're looking at enterprise model and you're needing us to come in and do a bigger, deeper, much more brutal training as far as around this to really change your sales game or your organizational communication model, you've got different ways to do it. We've got the 60, 90-day accelerators, you got a 30-day intensive, you've got a 3-part master class, and we can do the custom enterprise model as well. So this gives you an example of that. And if you're looking for, hey, we just want you to come in and do a single training, 1-day piece, let us know what that looks like. We'd be happy to build it custom for your company, and we can roll the app into it. And there's an enterprise model with a working dashboard for a trainer. So you can help train multiple salespeople within that too. So this is just a little bit of an insight into what our entire platform looks like within the CRG methodology.
All right. However, we've got a cool deal right here, right? This is for attendees, and this won't be available in the replay. But you got the free access to the compass, you got the conversation path guide, you got the foundational method, you got entry into the ecosystem, you got full method app access, digital curiosity compass, premium resource library. Man, 12, geez, dude, we got a lot here. 30-day CRG challenge, the conversion tools, the path, all for $9.99 a month for this deal. Normally it's $19. This is for you attendees. Sign up today, scan that code, get what you've got to get. Just get in, get on board, man. Serious action takers take serious action. And if you're that kind of person that wants to get to that 90, 95% rate of conversions and sharpening your saw, being a better leader, let's go.
So here's what we built inside the app. And this is the very tertiary level of it. But there's a practice side of the app that's AI driven. And the irony is we used to try to teach AI to sound like people. Now we're using AI to help us sound more like people. So that's where the training comes in. The training modules within it are interactive modules. So you can either do generic sales, you can do generic leadership, generic CSMs. You can type in a custom format of, hey, I'm a real estate professional. I'm getting ready to go on a listing appointment, and I need to practice in this way. And the AI will role play with you in a specific way to help you navigate the paths. You can also, which is my favorite one that's in here, and this was built specifically for one of our clients because we kept hearing, man, I got to have this really difficult conversation and I don't know where to start. One in the chat, throw one in the chat if you've ever said that. I got to have a really difficult conversation. I don't know where to start. There's a custom feature within the app that lets you custom build the scenario right down to the most minute detail so that you know how to show up and you can practice the conversation ahead of time so you can show up in curiosity and not activated. So it's a very, very cool tool. So that's what the app is all about. We're super stoked to roll it out. In about a minute and a half, I guess we head for the thank you for showing up slide.
Yep. If it will move, well, we did the Q&A. Yep. All right.
There you go.
People, thank you for showing up. We really have had a blast. I mean, Jake, it's always good, hanging out with you here.
You as well.
All right, everybody. Well, until next time, we'll probably have another one of these. Probably another month.
Not scheduled yet, but we will have more of these, and we'll do some more advanced trainings. And again, in the app, you get some live coaching from Mike and I as well.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you next time.